Good morning, everybody. My intent today is to talk to you about the importance of allies, mentors, and sponsors in driving transformational and dynamic and engaging company culture. But as you can tell, it might be a little challenging for me to speak. So I'll try to do my best, and we asked them to turn the mic up a little bit higher for me today. So I want to start off by talking about an early career exercise I had around training and development. I had just graduated with a master's degree and also an emphasis in organizational behavior, and I thought I was going to go out and change the world. I had really high aspirations. My first assignment was to teach sexual harassment training and anti-discrimination training to a bunch of oil riggers from West Texas. And all the stereotypes that are going through your mind right now are mostly true. That was a challenging experience. And what I discovered from that, there are two takeaways for me. One is, despite the challenge of that experience, I knew I was engaged in a career where I wanted to help people train and develop and grow. And so that was still important to me despite that. And the second thing I took away from that, changing culture and embedded stereotypes is really hard. And it takes time, ongoing reinforcement, and a lot of effort and support from a leadership team. Speaking of the leadership team, I want to just briefly show, this is our leadership team at Instructure. I'm fortunate to work with a leadership team that is committed to diversity and inclusion and valuing differences. And we're not there yet. We've got a lot of work to do. In the last year, we have made a lot of progress on having more women on our senior leadership team, and we're super excited about the different backgrounds and experience and ideas they bring to the table. One of the things I think is important to talk about, when we talk about allies, mentors, and sponsors, I know this is a theme you're hearing about today a lot, and probably because it's important. I want to just give my brief definition of what an ally, mentor, and sponsor is to me. An ally, first of all, is just someone who's in your court, someone who can support you as you talk about either your career path or something going on in your life. I think Michelle talked earlier about just having a circle of friends you can go to and talk to that can help support you. A mentor is someone that actually has career expertise. They have knowledge and experience, and you may have a formal sit-down conversation with them on occasion where they talk to you about what they've experienced in their careers and give you advice on how that may help you in yours. And I don't know if we've talked about sponsors much yet today, but I think sponsors are critically important in advancing your career. A sponsor is someone who is all in for you. They're willing to put their neck on the line and promote you to other people. They're willing to use their network to recommend you to other companies internally or externally. And the interesting thing about a sponsor is sometimes you don't find them, they may find you. And so as you have interactions with people, either in interviews or situations where you go to conferences, that first impression is always a big deal, and it's important to make sure that you recommend people as sponsors for other people or get to know people who may become a sponsor for you. It's a fast clicker. So as we talk about our executive team one more time, I'm also fortunate that they are committed to be mentors, allies, and sponsors within our organization as part of our leadership competency model. All of these people, to get where they did in their career, have had effective allies, mentors, and sponsors. And in return, we want to make sure that they're giving back to people both within our organization and externally outside of the organization. That's one of the commitments we ask for within our leadership model. Me personally, I've had lots of mentors in my career, one of which I wanted to mention today is Pat Jones, who is the CEO of the Women's Leadership Institute. She's an amazing woman who's done so much to advance women in politics and in leadership positions in companies here in Utah. And one of the things that she continually advocates in every meeting I'm in with her is the importance of having both men and women involved together in advancing this within our community. And that's critically important, and that's something I've learned from her among many other things, obviously. One of the challenges within companies is how to facilitate these connections in a way that's scalable. And so we've talked a lot over the last couple of years about ideas for how we might do this. One of our teams in Philadelphia came up with the idea of coffee talks. And this is simply, every month, they've done it back there for a while, where they connect people randomly within the company and ask them to go to coffee together. It's a simple thing, it's informal, it's pretty casual, and they give a list of questions they could talk about or ideas they could talk about so they have an idea about what that person does, what kind of career path they chose, why did they choose to go there, and some other information like that. Obviously, you have to be a little culturally appropriate about how you do these things in different locations. For us here in Utah, we might have crumble cookie talks or something like that. Because every day we have crumble cookies delivered to our office in batches, and I don't know how we're keeping on a wellness program with that, but it's great. So one of the other challenges our diversity and inclusion team looked at was how do we help expand this and scale this within our organization and connect people in more formal ways with mentoring opportunities. And we had an employee directory tool that wasn't getting fully utilized, and so they had the idea of how do we expand that and make it more useful for people within the company. And so we took not only the information we had in the directory, but we started adding other things, like, for example, a personality profile, and even information about the person's career drivers and what they care about in their career and how it helps them progress. We also added in information about skills and interests they had. So these could be very informal hobbies, things they like to do outside of work, and also things that they've developed competencies in over their career that they might be willing to share with other people. And then when people search this database, they can pull up someone, see a career competency that they're interested in, and schedule a meeting with them to have a career conversation. And when they do that, we prompt them to take a how to be an effective mentor and how to be an effective mentee course, so they go in with some information and know how to have these conversations, which is very helpful. This tool that we've been using internally for almost a year now has been quite productive. We have probably 80% of our employees are in this tool every month, using this to some capacity. We've even built this into one of our products we're selling this summer in Bridge, and it's pretty exciting. So thank you for our diversity inclusion team. So one other thing I want to talk about is the importance of diverse allies. We have, again, I mentioned a diversity inclusion team. One of the members of our team is Omar Khan, and he's in our Chicago office. Obviously, he's male, but he's one of the strongest advocates for females in engineering in our company. And he has worked with this team to come up with all these recommendations on how we can increase the flow of candidates coming into the company and make the experience better for them who happen to be female. And as you all know, that's a struggle for engineering companies and technology companies. You can see some of the recommendations they've made that we're working on now to help implement and make some of those things work better for female engineers in our company. And then wrapping up, I think it's important in every leadership development program to talk about mentoring, coaching, and how to develop others. We will need this capacity in all leaders in the future. As we are working with the Women's Leadership Institute to implement the career development series for women leaders, we added a whole day on mentorship because we felt like it was so important to make sure that's a competency that leaders develop and nurture in their careers, and we all need it. And we all need mentors, allies, and sponsors in our careers. They've all helped us get to where we are today. And as a takeaway from this, going back to some things you heard earlier from Michelle and Sid as they were talking, in order to strengthen our community and the talent and the leadership here, we have many capable people in this audience. And I would encourage each of you to reach out to other people and serve as an ally, mentor, or sponsor, or all three. And sometimes that means we have to step out of our comfort zone, but when we do that, we'll definitely help increase the capacity and capability in our community. Thank you very much.